Good morning from me, Ray White, in for Udo Coralso this morning on quarterfinal day. Now, the Springboks are taking on the Aussies, as you know. The winner off to the semis. We'll be keeping a close eye on the rugby this morning. No matter what interview we are doing, I promise you, we'll bring you the action as it happens. In fact, let's do that right now. Let's go to Wesley Petersen. He's at the Wellington Regional Stadium in New Zealand. Good morning, Wesley. What's happened so far?
Good morning, Ray. Well, as you surmised perfectly, the Springboks starting very well, camping out in the Wallaby half for the first 5 minutes, and quite enterprising play from the Springboks. I've got to say the Wallabies, though, also getting a few opportunities trying to break the line of the Springboks, but both teams going at it quite fresh early on. The Springboks scrum was just a phenomenal in the second scrum of the game, driving the Wallabies backwards and having full control of the ball. But so far the Springboks looking very good and looking very composed, and that has been the key of the game, or the talk up to this game has been that the Boks are very calm and very composed, and they're exactly what they need to do if they want to be successful today.
Now, Wesley, some of the key players, we're missing Bakkies Botha. Does that matter?
Bakkies Botha, Frans Steyn, those two players are big blows, of course, to the Springboks because they are phenomenal players. But if you look at the replacements, Pat Lambie playing very well, and also Dani Rousseau, potentially one of South Africa's players of the tournament so far. He replaces Bakkies Botha today. And so I don't think the Springboks lose too much when they lose those two players, although it must be said, with them, they are a bit stronger.
Well, I must say, I'm watching it on TV. They're looking really strong. JP Petersen just taking the ball and running, Skalkberger there as well. Your prediction, and don't be biased.
I'm not being biased here when I say that the Springboks are better prepared for this. They've got the momentum going into this game. My feeling is that the Springboks will be very strong for a long time, but I do expect the Aussies to come back in the second half and be extremely strong when they start running at a more tired Springbok team. So I'm going for a 24-15 win to the Springboks. That's my prediction, my head on the block for the day. But let's hope for good rugby, and I'm sure we'll get it.
Quade Cooper seems to be the guy of action for the Aussies. He either has a really good day or not.
Yeah, I think, but look, we've seen the Wallabies win the Tri-Nations final match without Quade Cooper having a very good day. We've seen the Reds win the Super Rugby final without Quade Cooper having a very good day. So yes, he's important to the Wallabies, but he's not the only player of threat for them. So I think that would be a big mistake if the Springboks think they can nullify Quade Cooper and nullify the entire Wallaby game. I think that would be a massive error.
Eyewitness News sports editor Wesley Petersen live from the Wellington Regional Stadium. Wesley, we'll be chatting to you later on in the show just to keep us up to date with what's happening.
The World Cup Desk is brought to you by Outsurance.
A man who's in Wellington in the stadium is EWN sports editor Wesley Petersen. Wesley, not looking good for the Boks, but they seem to be fighting back in the last few minutes.
Peter de Villiers will be a worried man. I think the Springboks guilty of just a few technical as well as tactical errors so far in this game. That's let the Wallabies into the game after, as you mentioned, that ferocious start from the Boks. They really did start well, dominated in scrums, and they really were going forward, but the Wallabies have come back. In fact, the Wallabies have been able to settle into their game plan of counter-attack and also feeding off turnover ball and making things happen. Horwell of course scored that early try in the 11th minute, and then there was an early charge from JP Petersen which put James O'Connor off his stride, and he missed that to conversion. Of course, O'Connor did get a penalty on a bit later to make that score 8-0. But at this point, I think a lot of fans are a little bit frustrated by referee Bryce Lawrence. The South Africans on the field looking frustrated as well. And then the one big blow for South Africa, I would say, from this half so far has been Heinrich Brousseau going off with what looks like a knee injury, and that happened in the 20th minute. Francois Lowe's on the field for him now at the moment, but that could affect the Boks later on.
Wesley, what sort of game plan do the Boks seem to be playing? Are they look to be playing a kicking game?
Yeah, look, I think they've mixed it up well. They've kept ball in hand. In fact, this try came from Skalkberger trying to run the ball from the Springboks' own 5-meter line. So the Boks have tried to keep ball in hand. They've tried to keep the ball away from the Wallabies. That's been the game plan. But so while they've protected it, they've also managed to do a bit of kicking. And unfortunately, they've kicked the ball away far too often. I think Fourie du Preez guilty of a big mistake in that regard. His tactical kicking has not been up to speed. So I think they are trying to play the kicking game and mixing it up with possession as well. But unfortunately for the Springboks, the kicking game not doing well at all, except for a few up and unders.
That's EWN Sports, Wesley Petersen live in Wellington.
The World Cup Desk.
Wesley, what's been happening with the Boks in the second half? They've come out a new team.
They absolutely have, Sheldon. And in fact, you summarized the second half very well, summing up all the big talking points of the second half. But they have done very well. Great attacking play from South Africa. Better kicking accuracy all around. There's a couple of kicks really probing the Aussie backline, getting behind their back three. So some of that's been very good. The contact situations have been immense, and there's been a lot of. It's really been a bruising encounter. It's been a physical battle. You would have seen Pat McCabe come off the field, and just the look on his face of sheer exhaustion. He really gave it his all, and it just showed what kind of battle this was. Territory and possession, absolutely, with the Springboks. But unfortunately, we just haven't seen that translate into points. The Springboks struggling to get over the try line. There was a period between 65 minutes or 63 and 69 minutes of the game when the Springboks, for all the money in the world, you thought they were going to score, because, like you say, that was the helter-skelter period of the game where the Boks just looked like they were going to score, but it didn't happen for them. Morné Steyn has kept the Springboks in it with that drop goal and a penalty, but O'Connor kept his head, and he kicked, like you said, he kicked the penalty for the Wallabies, and they are in the lead now with just about 3.5 minutes to play. So it's still going down to the wire as predicted.
Wesley, with those 3 minutes there, what do you think the options are for the Boks?
Well, they can only continue doing what they have been doing. I know that I saw Butch James warm up just a little while ago. So I think the Springers will just continue to do what they have been doing. Hopefully, they won't be pinned in their own half. They want to get down to the Wallaby half and then make one of those moves count. The Springboks have it in them. If they can get anywhere close to the Wallaby 22, then a drop goal will definitely be on. And I think that would be probably first option for the Boks. If they win a penalty as well in the Wallaby half, that could be points for them as well, and it could mean the game at this stage of the game. But definitely they need to get out of their half at the moment and get into the Wallaby half.
That's EWN Sports' Wesley Petersen live from Wellington.
This is Eyewitness News.
The Springboks crash out of the World Cup. Wesley Petersen has more from Wellington.
The Springboks are out of the Rugby World Cup in New Zealand despite a brave effort against Australia. The Boks dominated possession and territory in the second half against the Wallabies at Wellington, but it was not enough in the end. Morné Steyn kicked a few penalties and a brilliant drop goal to give South Africa the lead on 60 minutes in the second half, but the Australians hit back with the James O'Connor penalty on 70 minutes to take the score to 11-9. That's how it stayed up until 80 minutes. The halftime score was 8-3 in favour of the Australians. The South Africans played well and had the possession and territory, but the Wallabies came up trumps with their counter-attacking play and scoring off turnover ball. Wesley Petersen, Eyewitness News, Wellington, New Zealand.
It's just gone 11 o'clock.
This is Eyewitness News.
Good morning, I'm Tara Meany. It's the end of the road for Peter de Villiers after the Springboks crashed out of the 2011 Rugby World Cup, losing to Australia 11-9 in Wellington. Wesley Petersen has more from Wellington.
Peter de Villiers says the time has come to go. In an emotional post-match press conference, the coach said the journey for him is over. He says he enjoyed the privilege to be in a position to make a contribution to the country. De Villiers says he hopes it was positive. He says he wanted to be the best he could be. His captain, John Smith, said de Villiers made them enjoy every moment of the past 4 years. Wesley Petersen, Eyewitness News, Wellington, New Zealand.
This is Eyewitness News.
Springbok coach Peter de Villiers has hinted that it might be the end of the road for him following the team's crash out of the 2011 Rugby World Cup. De Villiers hasn't officially quit, but says the decision as to whether he stays or goes lies with rugby bosses.
But then again, there's people who control this environment, and it's all up to them now, what they want to do. I can't enforce myself on people who don't want back what they invested. So let's wait and see what they decide, and we take it from there.
De Villiers says he's disappointed to have crashed out in the quarterfinals.
It's a bad feeling. You have to face the reality. There's a bigger picture now. You have to go back, you have to go face your people, and you must go share the disappointment that's on their faces, and you can tell them that you're sorry.
It's 1 o'clock.
This is Eyewitness News.
Good afternoon, I'm Andrea van Wyk. Peter de Villiers says it's not up to him whether he continues his role as coach of the Springboks. Wesley Petersen has more.
De Villiers says he would love to continue to make a contribution to South African rugby. However, he says it's definite that he's out of the position of head coach.
Well, that is only in the hands of the guys who make the decisions, but at this moment I know I'm gone.
De Villiers says he would like to leave a legacy and make a proper handover to the next coach, but he adds that's not up to him. Wesley Petersen, Eyewitness News, Wellington, New Zealand.